Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, the Core GT Series heads to the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and this thing is just an iconic track when it comes to road racing. Obviously, very famous for the corkscrew. That it's if you take a look at it, you know what track you're looking at right away. But this thing has a lot of very fun turns, especially the long straightaway that leads down into turn one, which is a kind of a double apex hairpin, and just a lot of left and right, and you need to hit your marks at the right spot every time. Sometimes you're sweeping out at the beginning of the turn and then diamond in. Sometimes you're getting to the inside as quick as possible. But either way, you want to keep that thing on the track, because you get that thing outside off the track in the kitty litter, you better hope you can get that thing wound up before the tire barriers. If not, it is lights out. But gonna be a two-man booth here tonight, as we got myself, Carl Handwerk, and joining me tonight is gonna be Terry Jansen with the man Daniel Stein. Not in here with us tonight, but Terry, you had a chance to do some digging here on this track, and we're going to try and do a little segment going forward, which is going to be Terry's track talk. But before we do that, let's just go ahead and start off with how's it going tonight, buddy?
Oh, not bad at all. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm ready for a great race here at Laguna Seca. Definitely, like you said, a very iconic track. People around the world love this track and just know this track. You know, you have to be a GT fan to know that this track exists. That's what's absolutely great about this track.
So while we have a chance before qualifying starts, we're going to go ahead and bring in our race reporter tonight, and that is going to be driver of the number 12, David Tilford, and he is one of your drivers in the GT3 AM series. And David, we see you in a lot of the core races here. I think you're in every series in core, and you're kind of getting your feet wet with the ovals and obviously some of the dirt ovals like you had on Sunday night there for the Premier Series. But this is kind of your bread and butter. This is what you came into with some knowledge, and that is some road racing. So tell me how it's been so far in the core GT series.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I put a lot of practice, or a fair amount of practice, into the road races. It's been kind of tough to keep up with all the road races and the road racing, but it's been pretty enjoyable. I really need to focus on just limiting mistakes. I know I have decent pace, so just limiting the mistakes is going to be key for me.
So it looks like sitting number 2 on the boards right now in GT3 AM, and no shocker to see Pal Kaska at the top of the boards there. He seems like he's been pretty much a threat since he came to the series here. But obviously being P2 on the boards, you're feeling pretty good about this track, I would assume. But other than tonight, are there any other tracks you're looking forward to on the rest of the schedule?
Remind me of what we're doing next. I'm not looking too far ahead because I got 4 different series.
Yeah, completely understandable. You got a little Watkins Glen week next week for the Premier Series, but also here in the GT Series. So next week is Watkins Glen, and then Mount Panorama, as the GT Series is gonna take place the same week as the iRacing at Bathurst 12-hour. Those are the next two up, and then you got Canadian Tire.
I'm really looking forward to Mount Panorama, just because it's going to be something a little different, and we're also doing a little longer race there too, so I think that'll be a fun one.
Fun's one way to put it. We'll let it go at that. I have my own reservations about the quote-unquote the mountain, but yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. But nice size field out here tonight. What do you think your chances are of grabbing a podium or maybe in a win here in the GT3M?
Definitely going for a podium. Like I said, just trying to keep it on the black stuff. I think if I do that, I have a pretty good shot of getting on the podium in the AM.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, before we let you go and get into your qualifying efforts, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
I'll just thank you guys for putting on a great league. Everyone for hanging out and being welcoming, and just the great attendance here that we're getting with the GT class this year. It's been really fun to have a lot of cars out on track.
Absolutely, and certainly looking forward to this one. So we will let you go ahead and get back into the car for qualifying, and wish you good luck out there.
Thanks, Carl.
That was driver of the 12, David Tilford. So while we get a moment here as these guys are heading out on the track, putting in their qualifying attempts, we will go back to the segment that I mentioned earlier, and that is Terry's Track Talk. So Terry, give us a rundown about WeatherTech at Laguna Seca.
All right. Well, of course, Laguna Seca is most well known for that 10-story drop coming out of the corkscrew. Of course, there's major events that are happening here all the time, including you can actually go to the Skip Barber School here at Laguna and actually give Laguna a chance. Everything up to even bicycle riding groups go around this track just so they can go down that corkscrew. A quick walk around the track. The track is 11 corners. The first corner is taken at full speed. It is a blind corner, however. The key is to float up to the right and set up for that second turn. Up next, the Andretti hairpin. That's the one that you had mentioned earlier as turn 1, which most racers, it is a single apex corner that requires maintenance throttle after braking. Turn 3 is a late apex. Aim the car to the left and slow down for that entry. But be careful though, because turn 4 comes up quick there, and it's a fast radius turn with no banking. As you move on to turn 5, it's important to make sure that you carry that momentum that begins to the uphill portion of the course. At the approach, turn 6, be mindful of the dip at the apex. That dip catches me off guard a lot. Then continue straight on the right side of 7 as you prepare for that corkscrew, and turn for 8 is late. Remember to look for the oak tree to line up for turn 8A, using the momentum to bring you to the fast downhill sweeper. I have heard that you're actually looking for the third tree right there to actually get that perfectly right. Then you're into turn 9, which is also blind, so be mindful not to turn the wheel too quickly. Turn 10 comes up quickly. Braking here is harder than it looks like it needs to be. Then you turn to you approach turn 11, the last corner on the track. It's a slow in, fast out approach, and you're back to that main straight. My favorite spot to pass is right in between 10 and 11 when everyone's braking real hard. I like to slip on in on the inside and try to beat them out of that corner. It can be very precarious though, so you got to watch out for that.
Excellent breakdown of the track there, and yeah, I mean, you hear it. Obviously, when you think Laguna Seca, you think of the corkscrew, but a lot of corners that are pretty famous and liked as well as disliked by a lot of the racers out here. But it's unique. There's really no other way to put it, and should be good racing here for 45 minutes for the Core GT Series. We take a look at the point standings heading into this race, and on top of the boards is Mason Smith for the GTP division, Nick Nickerson 14 points back, Kevin McCann 39 points back. We look at the GT3 Pro. Mark Thomas is ahead in that one with Chris Hamilton 14 points back in second, Matthew Goring in third, 17 back. In the GT3 AM, you have Brett Guzik, who's up 28 points on Derek Sherman, and 36 back to our in-race reporter here tonight, David Tilford, who's in third. And then for the Pro Am, and no surprise, as you have two guys in the top 3 with Mark Thomas and David Tilford. That team is ahead by 49 points over the team of Chris Hamilton and Abhi Vishwasam. And then in third in the Pro Am, 92 points back, is Matthew Goring and Tyler Wong. So with this track here, it's almost kind of like a street circuit, because it's not really that wide, not really that much room to move in a lot of the straightaways, and it can get really hairy real quick. Now, you don't have the walls catching you right away coming off the tracks, but you do have the kitty litter, and if you're not ready for it and it grabs you, Terry, you know as well as I do, it's not fun. I mean, even if you don't get into the tire barriers, it's tough getting out of there and getting back on the track.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just a quick lapse of thinking you're gone into that sand and you're building sandcastles, and everyone's going to pass you by when you're out there in that sand.
So we got some returners to the series that haven't been out here for the last couple of weeks. Like for instance, the 111 Andrew Rasmussen was the winner of Daytona 1, and then also Daytona 2. So he swept Daytona, but then we didn't see him at Sebring. Actually, I'm sorry, we did see him at Sebring. Just had a rough race there and couldn't really get anything going, and finishing 6th, which was last there in the GT3 Pros. But then not in attendance for Long Beach. So making a return here and sitting P2 on the boards right now. Derek Sherman on top of the boards for the AM. Chris Hamilton is on top of the boards for the GT3 Pros. Nick Nickerson up there for the GTPs. But a lot of guys still yet to put their qualifying in. These guys get 10 minutes and 4 laps to put down. So, you know, with a minute 21 seconds, a minute 22 for these GT3 Pros and AMs, they'll easily be able to get those 4 laps in, and obviously the GTP is a little bit faster. So, I mean, what are you going to be looking for here, Terry? I mean, again, with this being a little bit tighter of a track, passing, especially from the GTP to the GT3s, is kind of going to be at a premium.
Yeah, I think so. I think that passing is going to happen on the back half of the track, and then, of course, after the corkscrew, I do find that that's a great, for me, it's the easiest spot to pass in the entire track is right there before that corkscrew, or after that corkscrew. There are some other prime spots that you can find along the way, but you got to really pick and choose and make sure that no matter how you do it, you do not hit that sand.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, it's pretty much lights out at that point. But I want to thank everybody out there that's already watching, and all the rest that are getting ready to watch this race. Again, 45 minutes is the length of the race here tonight. And just want to remind everyone to hit that thumbs up, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer here. As like always, we got a full schedule on tap this week, as we got the ARCA Series and Truck Series for Core both tomorrow night, as both of those races will be at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the short little oval track there. Should be some interesting and not exactly easy to pass there, so we'll see how everything shakes out. And then we have the season finale for UCRL also tomorrow night as they head to Charlotte. Wednesday night, as always, the core, the CRN is off. It looks like, unfortunately, the Wednesday night series we were going to be picking up is not going to be happening at this point, at least. So Wednesday is still off for CRN, and then back on your screens on Thursday night for the core Vintage Series, as this week the Vintage Series is going to head to Watkins Glen. So should be interesting, some extra road course racing for you this week, and those guys will be able to open it up as the bus stop is not going to be in play. It's going to be the older version, the classic version of Watkins Glen. So they'll just be able to rip right down the back stretch and hopefully get those cars spooled up for the carousel. So make sure you tune in to everything that we got throughout the week, and then obviously wrapping up or starting up, whatever you want to call it, on Sunday nights. The Premier Series is back in action, as it's going to be a doubleheader this week with Summit Point with the Skip Barbers. Going to be the first race at about 9 o'clock. And then after that race is over, the super late models at Myrtle Beach. So both really, really good races there to tune into. But we are just about done with qualifying here, and we will get the results here on the screen in a second and get ready to fire this thing up. All right, looks like we are indeed done with the qualifying. So we will take a look and start off with the GT Pros. And you have only three guys that are able to put down a time, as Mason Smith being the points leader, he's not allowed to put down a time, and then looks like Nathaniel Davis not putting a time down either. But top of the boards is going to be Nick Nickerson, followed by Kevin McCann and Jimmy Covert. Heading over to the GT3 Pros, you have Christopher Hamilton on the pole, looking to try and go back-to-back here. Matthew Goring in second, John Nominger, Ricky Hart, Matt Crockett, and then rounding out the field, Mark Thomas, your points leader again, not allowed to qualify. And finally, the GT3 AM, and as always, this thing is a pretty good-sized field. As top of the boards is going to be Pal Casca over Derek Sherman, David Tilford, Andrew Rasmussen, Willem Layton, rounding out the top 5. Then you have Matt Z, Dane Simpson, Tim Thompson, Derek Booker, Connor Gibson, rounding out your top 10. Then the rest of the field will be Abiy Vishwavasim, Tyler Bramble, John Crane, Landon Benson. Those are the guys that put in the times. Then you have Craig Potter starting 15th, Brett Guzik starting 16th, your points leader, Tyler Wong in 17th, and James Jones rounding out the field. So really, really good size field from these guys, as we have 29 cars on the track here, and it is gonna get it's gonna get loud. It's gonna get feisty, I think, pretty quickly here. Hopefully these guys can figure out a way to make it through the first couple turns, let alone the first couple laps. But oh boy, I mean, were you looking for the first action at the start-finish line, Terry?
Well, normally I find that with that blind corner right there on that little one first curve bend there that's full out, those cars on the inside will tend to drift wide, and when they drift wide, if there's someone coming up right beside them, it's going to be lights out.
Field is pulling away as you're taking a look from the flag stand there with Barney just hanging out right now, and hopefully it's only the green flag that he's going to be handling tonight until we get to the white and the checkered. But well, it actually will be, because there's no yellows here other than the local cautions. But I have a feeling we're going to see certainly some local cautions here as this thing is going to get pretty crazy. I mean, it's going to be hard enough watching these GTPs get around the GT3s, but I can't imagine once we get into the racing and trying to see these guys attack each other. I mean, I think it's going to be some pretty wild driving.
Yes, it is. It's going to be entertaining watching to see where they're trying to pass each other. Of course, a good spot to watch is right after turn 3, trying to come out of that turn 3. If you don't hit that rumble strip right, again, you're going to pay for it. And it's hard to catch back up, because that very next corner, if you mess up turn 3, you're not going to get turn 4 right either.
Let's take a look, and once again you see not just one but two of the GT3 AM cars actually qualified ahead of your pole sitter for the GT3 Pro, so pretty interesting to see that. But Pal Casca and Derek Sherman both put in a better time than Chris Hamilton. But the field now heading through turn 10, and taking a look at the pole sitter here, Nick Nickerson, getting ready to watch that pace car pull off the track, and does so kind of late there. Not sure he was going to make that corner. I guess that Porsche safety car's got some good turn-in power there. But now on the front stretch, and this thing is about to fire off, and green flag in the air. We are racing at Laguna Seca.
The GTAs are just now getting to the start.
Beautiful sights right there, just looking at the flag stand and watching all these cars rip by. So all in all, looks like the field getting through pretty cleanly. It looks like John Crane electing to start from pit lane, so he's just heading out there right now. Pal Casca leading the field here in the GT3 about the entire GT3 overall here, but leading the field for the GT3M as they head into turn 6, and this is the one I think you're going to really have to watch as we'll kind of key on that corner right now. You see that little dip that Terry was talking about on the inside. You really have to hit that right, because if you don't, you get out a little bit too wide, you're going to be right on the outside and into those marbles really quick. But looks like all these guys so far are navigating through pretty quickly. And of course, the infamous corkscrew is to see all these guys diving down through there, and just an absolute beautiful sight. I mean, I could just pull up a chair right here, kick back, open the cooler up, and just watch this turn the entire rest of the night. Taking a look back up front, looks like Nick Nickerson already starting to pull away, and you see, I mean, you know, he's already got about a half a track only until the back half of the field, as it looks like we do have possibly an issue back here.
Yeah, Nathaniel Davis was trying to pass the GT cars, and he spun out going into turn 2 there. Right at the beginning of turn 2.
Already missing a rear wing, and yeah, it looks like that thing just would not check up at all, but luckily he spins straight across in front of the guys and does not collect anyone else. But yeah, without a rear wing, that back end is not going to want to have any kind of grip at all, so he's going to jump into the pits. But another incident, as we talked about right here, already going for a pass, and this is the battle for second place. Mason Smith dives down in there and loops it in the corkscrew. That's a tough place to be looped around right there. And that was actually a battle for third. He's going to get that thing back going, and looks like no damage. So good job getting woed up, and really a good job by Jimmy Covert to avoid the incident there. And we got a little slowdown for having to do that, but certainly a lot better than wrecking. Take a look here, and I think this is what we're going to be doing for a lot of the races, just kind of hopping back and forth between incidents. Tim Thompson, big impact, and looks like another one right there as well. Oh, another hard impact. And that is your points leader in the GT3 Pro. That is Mark Thomas, and we'll take a look on board from Mark's car, and I think it was just kind of nothing he can really do coming out of that corner, unfortunately. You see coming out of the corner, and yep, the car just already bounced off the wall and just sliding back across the track, and nothing he can really do. And it looks like another incident a little bit later. Probably getting back to the pits, and that car just not handling it well, and out right there, looks like he tries to cut in, didn't realize the GTPs were coming, and going to get a little sideways. So this is not a good start for your GT3 Pro points leader, but a lot of time still left on the clock, and can certainly get back in this thing. I'm sure he's not going to be the only one dealing with any kind of issues here tonight. There's going to be a lot of issues, and right here you see just already a cluster getting into the corkscrew as Nick Nickerson coming up on some of the GT3s. And this is where the ebb and flow is going to be. It's may not be necessarily the fastest guy winning each class, let alone the GTPs, but how you're going to navigate traffic and how you're going to get around, because see that lead already shrinking back down to 1.7 seconds as Kevin McCann getting through a little bit easier. But it's, again, another week where I'm happy to be up here in the booth with you, Terry.
It does look exciting, though. I kind of missed this one. Or some of these guys, I'll let them do the driving, because looks like they're doing a much better job than I might be doing.
Yeah, I can pretty much echo that. I mean, a lot of these guys out here are good drivers, and a lot of these guys compete in the endurance races that we do, as we did the Daytona 24, and now coming up next weekend already, not this weekend, but next weekend will be an incident there. Doesn't look like it wrinkled up any kind of fenders there for Nick Nickerson, but that was very close, and now a change for the lead as Kevin McCann getting by. But already Yeah, some issues right there. Nickerson now finally getting around, but yeah, that's how quick you come up with these cars right here in the GTPs. But as I was saying, the next race coming up already next week, and that is the Bathurst 12-hour with the GT3 cars. We'll take a look on board again of that incident from Nickerson's point of view, and you see comes out of the corner and just not sure which way to go there, and getting up on the back of the GT3 car just really quickly there. Looking back here at the GT3 field, Pal Kaska still leading the overall, so leading the GT3 Amber. Right there behind him is the 64 of Chris Hamilton, so he's able to get around Derek Sherman and still stay in the lead of the GT3 Pro. But looks like we might have had another issue with Nick Nickerson here, and catching back up, and oh, very close there with Kevin McCann, and then Nickerson goes for the same move, and Booker is right there and ends up T-boning Booker. And that's, I think, just a little sense of urgency from Nickerson. I think a little bit too early here as he tries to make some aggressive moves there to get around the GT3s, and it does not pay off. Looks like that car's still pretty clean in the front, but you keep having bumps like that, it's not going to be clean for long. John Crane back here just kind of running his own race after he started in the pits, but looks like he had a little issues getting woed up here for turn 1, or actually, you said this is turn 2, Terry, or turn 3? The hairpin down here.
Oh, that's turn 2. That's the Andretti hairpin.
Yep, and he does get a turn back around, no damage there. As it looks like Chris Hamilton slowly actually starting to reel in Pal Kaska here for the overall lead in the GT3s. And again, as we mentioned before, there's no bonus points one way or another for an AM driver to beat a pro driver, but it's more bragging rights. These guys, they know they're in the same spec cars. It's not like the AMs are any easier to drive or any slower or anything like that. They're on the level playing field here. It's just they're in 2 different divisions, 2 different classes. So, they feel like if the AMs can get a one-up on the pros, obviously they're happy, and vice versa. The pros are not happy to lose to an AM driver. So we'll see how Chris Hamilton takes Pal Kaska here, as they've got some GTP cars coming up, and it looks like that is your class leader here, Kevin McCann, getting it done right now, as Nick Nickerson certainly having his issues early. Take a look back now at Mark Thomas. Looks like he's just kind of limping that thing around right now. Did not bring it in the pits yet to get repaired, so he's probably going to just try and run this thing out and make his normal pit stop. And basically not add an extra pit stop just to get this thing repaired. He wants to bring this thing in when it needs fuel, and that's it. So if that's what he can do, if that's what he can work out, he'll still keep on pace with everybody else, and then he'll just have to make a charge once he gets those fresh tires and fuel to make a run back through this field. But right now you see sitting at 6th and dead last in the GT3 Pro. Certainly not what he wants to be right now, but Hamilton leading Go-Ring, Ricky Hart Jr., Matt Crockett, and John Noming are the top 5 there. In the GT3 AM, you got Kaska, Sherman, Tilford, Layton, and Z in your top 5. And then your GTP is Kevin McCann, Nickerson, Smith, Covert, and Davis. Those are your 5 GTP drivers. So 10 minutes into this race now, Terry, and is it pretty much status quo? Some bumps and bangs here and there, and some aggressive GTP driving.
Oh yes, definitely. It's been overall a tight race. I just went through the group of GTs, and it looked like the 6 of them were right within my same screenshot as I move through each individual car. So everything's real tight and makes it a little bit harder for these faster cars. But overall, it looks like it's going just as par. You know, bumps are going to happen, especially right there at the top of that corkscrew. You get that little bump that kind of makes your car feel like it's going to float, right where Nick Nickerson got into his first incident there. It's quite possible that something like that could have happened in that situation.
Well, I mean, realistically, you take a look at the track map, and there's really no space on the track. I mean, other than maybe around turn 6 right now, to fit any other dots. I mean, there's dots around the entire track right now, and that's what 29, 30 cars is going to do to you here at Laguna Seca. But again, I love it. I'm in the booth. I don't have to deal with it. But I mean, watching these guys, it's got to be stressful, and it goes both ways. It's got to be stressful for the GTPs, trying to keep their pace while trying to make some moves. But the same thing with the GT3s. They're trying to run their race, but you know, they got a mirror full of a GTP, and they're trying to figure out where they're going to try and make their pass, which side they're going to try and make their pass. And you hope on our side that the communication is being done, because communication goes a very long way between drivers, and it's something that, you know, the real life drivers don't have a chance to do. They don't talk to each other, you know, over the intercoms, over the mics, anything like that. But these guys have that chance to, and you hope that they're taking that chance to do so. But I just did see that excuse me, it looks like in the GT3 Pro division, John Nominger actually turning in the fastest lap of the race for all of the GT3 drivers right now. So maybe a little speed under that 44 that maybe we haven't seen, you know, quite so far this season. And he certainly, you know, had his ups and downs, especially in the Premier Series. You know, not exactly having the start of the season that he wanted to have. And taking a look at his standings here in the GT3 Pro, kind of the same thing. Sitting there in 5th place, he does have, you know, 3 top 5s out of his 4 races, but has not really been a threat to win anything quite yet. So we'll see if that thing can turn around, and maybe he can try and make a drive here in this one. But right now, sitting in 5th place, already 32 seconds back behind Chris Hamilton. So as we're getting close to the 3rd of the race complete here, as we're just about finishing up minute number 13, who do you guys got? Who do you guys think can pull this thing off for all 3 divisions? You got the GTPs with Kevin McCann, Nick Nickerson, and Mason Smith. Look like they're going to have quite a battle here for the end. You got Chris Hamilton in the lead of the GT3 Pros, but only by 4 seconds over Matt Govering, and Ricky Hart just kind of hanging out back there as well. And the GT3 AM, Pau Casca has been doing great since the end of the season, end of the series here, but Derek Sherman only 2.5 seconds back, and Tilford and Race Reporter only 6 seconds back. So all these classes still pretty close. I know we got Barry out there rooting for Nick. We got another rooting for Casca, but who else you got out there? Who do you think is going to get this thing done by the end of this race? Looks like we already have a taker into the pits, and that is the aforementioned Nick Nickerson, as he's going to be the first GTP to bring that thing into the pits. And not really a shocker, you know, he's probably got a little bit of damage that he's working with on that car, and wants to be the first one to get in here and just get some, you know, get a clean car to get back out there and drive. Looks like we had another incident with Derek Booker, though, in the meantime, and that is coming down into turn 10. Looks like that thing just gets loose, steps out on him right away going to the corner, and then as he tries to correct it, it just loops right back around again. Does get it back going, though, with no damage that we've noticed. Another incident here with John Crane. And just kind of same thing. Looks like these guys are just really having trouble with the entries. Not necessarily, you know, getting off the corners, which is usually the problem. You know, just getting that power down. It's actually getting the power slowed down is where these guys are having trouble tonight, Terry.
Yeah, that's a different thing that I'm used to seeing on this track, actually. Usually it's putting that power down too quick and shooting straight off into that sand. And I am believing that it's probably going to come down to pit strategy here real shortly when they all start to pit on. I think that running order's going to get mixed up quite a bit here real quick.
Yeah, like usual, not exactly an easy pit road to get into, as it's really a really tight corner getting into pit road, and you have to get it really slowed down. But that's really only half the battle. That exit coming out of the pits absolutely is just it's white knuckle at very low speeds. I mean, it's crazy because it's basically a bike lane, and you're trying to drive a car on it all the way going through the Andretti hairpin there, and it is absolutely not easy at all to keep it on that tight little exit of pit road. And you step off one time, you're going to be sliding, and as soon as you start sliding, you're out of the pit lane exit and you're getting a penalty. So it's kind of a double penalty by coming out of that pit road. But got some tight driving right here between the 44 of John Nobinger, the 96 of Dane Simpson, and the 08 of B. Vishwavasan, as these guys head down into the Andretti hairpin again. He had just really close, and right behind them it looks like is Tyler Wong in the 777, trying to make his way up through the AM class as well.
Yeah, back to that pit road exit. I'm not even sure that is actually a car lane wide. I don't think I've ever made it out of that exit without one tire on the sand.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven my fair share of like IndyCar races here, and I mean, as soon as you get out of pit lane, you don't need the pit limiter on anymore, and you can just, you know, drive it hard down into the Andretti hairpin on the inside there, but you kind of don't want to. I mean, as soon as you get on the gas, you're slowing up, and you're slowing up a lot just to get that thing done. We'll try and give you guys an idea with when one of these guys comes out of the pits, but it's not fun.
It's easy to forget that the hairpins there is there too, because everything looks so wide open, and it's just a beautiful view straight ahead, and then all of a sudden you gotta turn.
Taking a look at second place right now. Real nice looking paint scheme on that 95 car of Matthew Goldring, as he's running second in the GT3 Pro division, and a guy that's, you know, he's kind of just plodded along so far this season, finishing third at the first Daytona race, fourth at the second one, fourth at Sebring, and then second at Long Beach. So looking for his first breakthrough of the season as well. He's certainly got the pace to get it done, and has been a threat, but just has not cracked the winner's circle quite yet. But looks like we might have had another incident here, and this one involving John Nobinger, as he comes back on the track, already off the track right there, and looks like that thing is not turning at all, and he is going to have to tow that thing into the pits. And another incident here, heading up into the corkscrew, and looks like Mason Smith just not getting it wound up for the corkscrew and looping it coming off, and that's kind of a precarious situation right there to be in too, as you better get that thing backed up and fired off right away, because other cars are flying down through there. So good job of getting it righted, but he's had a couple of incidents now in the corkscrew, and it's not like Mason Smith. We've got a couple guys in the pits right now, and we'll try and take you on board with one of them. And I believe, yeah, you see right there, you see how tight that exit is going through there, barely enough to fit a car going through there, and you cannot touch that kitty litter at all coming out. We'll jump on board now and try and give you a view from the cockpit and show you what these guys see. And yeah, you see, I've seen bike lanes wider than this. It's absolutely just insane. And then coming down into the turn here, you got to keep that thing way to the inside there just to make it through. And finally, you can breathe and let the car breathe a little bit too. Pit lane certainly starting to get a little busy here as these guys are making their first pit stops, at least in the GT3s, but a lot of these guys are towards the back of the field, so maybe just clean up some issues, clean up some injuries to the car, as we have yet to see anyone other than Nick Nickerson from the GTPs come in for fuel, and usually those guys are the first ones to pit lane, so looks like these GT3s may be able to make it a one pit stop race, and that's probably why you've seen Mark Thomas trying to stretch that thing out as far as possible, but it looks like he did hit pit lane on lap 13, so we'll see if he's able to stretch that thing out to the end from here. But right now it's looking just like a salvation mode for the 50 car, as he is all cleaned up, got a fresh body on that thing, used the fast repair. Now he's just got to put his head down and put some laps in and try and reel in these guys for, you know, maybe at least fourth. I'm not sure if he's got the speed to be able to catch up to third, but I mean, Mark Thomas has been on top of the boards for a lot of the season so far, so we'll see what happens. But right now it is still Kevin McCann, Al Kaska, and Chris Hamilton, your leaders in each class.
Well, in case you didn't know there, Laguna Seca is actually Spanish for the dry lagoon.
Interesting. So it's kind of a little different than what Ron Burgundy thought San Diego was was named for. We'll let that one go. But you did. Speaking of that, I mean, you did tell me quite an interesting story of how the corkscrew was actually designed. I mean, it wasn't part of the original design of the track.
No, the bulldoze driver, he was up at the top of the hill there, and the foreman decided it was lunch break, and so the bulldozer driver said, "Hey, I don't know where you want me to go from here," and the foreman said, "Get down however you can, and we'll make that the track." And that's how the corkscrew was designed.
I mean, it doesn't get more interesting than that. I mean, who would have thought that, you know, a call like that would have given us the infamous corkscrew, you know, just something like that. Give you guys a look back. It looks like wanted to see what happened with the 616 of Chris Potter, as I think just kind of locked up on me there. There we go, and you see right there out of turn 6, Potter getting loose. Looks like he's able to get that thing squared back away with a good-looking Oakley machine right there, and keeps it nice and clean. But that is what happened earlier to the 616. Take a look now, another good-looking Mercedes car, and that is third place in the GT3 Pro. That is Ricky Hart Jr., and still kind of hanging in there. I mean, he's not really dropping off the pace too much, still about 14.5 seconds back behind your leader, Chris Hamilton. So doing a good job out here, keeping that thing clean, and that is certainly, you know, step number one to having a good race. And right on cue, bring that thing in. You can see how tight and how hard of a turn that is coming into pit lane. So as you can see, it's bad enough getting off a pit lane, but coming in is not exactly that much easier. But does a great job bringing that thing in, and good and smooth. Just got to come in, hit your marks, and get back out, and we'll see where this shuffles Ricky Hart back out there, as still got a lot of guys in the top half of the GT3 field yet to pit. Everybody in the GTPs has pit, and it is Kevin McCann back out there in the lead by only 2.9 seconds, about 3 seconds right now, over Mason Smith. And broadcaster's curse on this one, as he is going to slide up, and we'll try and get a better view of that. And unfortunately, he is up, and looks like he had to tow. So
Yeah,
unfortunate there.
This truck is really taking its toll on those guys.
Yeah, you see, just it gets a little bit too crazy, I guess, into the other corkscrew, and that is a tow for your GTP overall leader, and that's going to give it to your points leader, Mason Smith. So just another chance for him to kind of stretch out his lead. Everything is happening all around him. He's certainly not without his issues. We've seen him have enough issues in the corkscrew already, but now he has found himself in the lead. And not for nothing, second place in the field for the GTPs is Jimmy Covert. Right there, looks like both these guys, I thought that was pit lane there, but yeah, these guys just kind of hanging out right now. And I think that's just a little fun being had there between Jimmy Covert and Mark Thomas, as both those guys run together a lot in the endurance races, but waits in, buys his time, gets around, and yeah, finds himself in second right now. And with the way this thing started off, I don't know if Jimmy would have thought he'd see himself here at this point, but nonetheless, that's where he is. Looks like your GT3 leader is now in the pits. Go ahead, Terry.
Tracks like this where they're very technical, but not looking so. Just patience will get you around and get you to the front, and that's what they're showing right now.
So pretty interesting. The top 5 drivers in the top 4 drivers in the GT3 field all happen to be AM drivers, and all pitting at the same lap. So Casca, Sherman, Tilford, and Z all in the pits right now. This is your leader on track, but he's still going to get past the guys in the pits, but that is Chris Hamilton. And you see right there behind him, Matthew Goring is right there within striking distance. So a great job of getting through the pit stop and getting back out. So the GT3 Pro division is very tight. You see Pal Casca coming back out, but he's going to lose the lead, I believe, to Brett Guzik, who also had a fantastic pit stop. Those guys pitting on lap 19, and these other GT3 cars pitting on lap 20. So that little bit of an undercut got these guys ahead. And I'm showing right there. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Pal Casca already out and up ahead, still leading the GT3 overall. I was looking at right here the white Porsche of Matt Z instead of the white McLaren of Pal Casca. So Guzik still doing a good job getting out there into second place, and really phenomenal job coming from the back. I mean, coming from the back in any race is difficult, but from the back here with all these GT3 cars and working his way up there, very close right there with Tyler Wong off to the side. But to get up there and now run second in the GT3 AM is a phenomenal job by Brett Guzik. And what you will see pretty soon, possibly after this race, is some of these classes will start to get reshuffled a little bit, and you will see some of the AM drivers getting bumped up into the Pro class, and that's just to kind of, even at the field, obviously these guys starting in the AM class either because, they thought they weren't going to make all the races, or they thought they didn't have the skill to be in the Pro class, but some of them are clearly showing that they have the skill, and there's no sense, holding them back and holding them down in the AM class. And it'll help, kind of spread out the field a little bit, as obviously we got more than 10 drivers in the AM division here at this track, and only 6 in the Pro. So it'll help even out those fields, and should put on some good racing for the wins here, as a good battle here. And getting around, it looks like that was just a lap car of Vishwavasan, but you see it is very close, tight battling here all through the track. So while we get a chance now, we are halfway through this race, 2/3 of the way actually through this race. Pit stops have been made, and I think it's about time that we crank up the sights and sounds of these guys, and we just shut up for a little bit and give you guys a love to hear it. Yeah, I don't know about you, Terry, but just it's amazing. I'll say it week in and week out how different each of these GT3 cars sound, and just the difference between the GTP and the GT3 class, how quickly they come up on corners, how much more downforce they have. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. And for me, it's definitely a thrill to watch the two classes together. Usually I'm always racing them. I'm never really having an opportunity to sit back and watch and see exactly how they're working it and all that. It's kind of an advantage to be up here, actually.
Yeah, you can certainly learn
That's
things
crazy.
by not being on the track. You can just kind of sit up here and watch what's going on. It's, like you said, it's a different vantage point, and you can see, you even talked about it on the our little break there, how you're watching some of these guys tackle the Andretti hairpin, for instance. How they're handling it differently than you do, and sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. So, but it's all things that you're not going to notice when you're running at a completely different side of the track than them, or a different class than them, whatever it is. But you're going to see it from the booth. So it's almost sometimes a little bit of a training tool by sitting up here and being able to watch these guys, or maybe being one of the spectators out there just sitting back watching the race right now from the YouTube.
Oh yes, definitely. It's a great tool to take advantage of.
I did see, I seen at least earlier we had Ben Heisey out there taking a watch and seeing what's going on out here. I think since we got Stein in the booth, I think we need to get Heisey out there on the track, but I'll let him make that decision for sure. But these guys are now under 5 minutes to go, so it is go time if you haven't been already. But right now, Mason Smith is going to stranglehold on the GTP field as he's got a 1 minute lead over Jimmy Covert. So almost, you see right there, Covert crossing the start finish line right now. Mason coming into the final corner right now, so not too big of a...
Just took a ride.
Take a look, it's not coming up. There we go.
Oh, we got hit again.
Coming back on the track and right in front of Matt Z. And he's going to tow it back to pit lane. So now that is two... I'm not trying to put the kibosh here on Mason, but that's 2 out of our 3 class leaders in points. Not exactly having a good day and getting roughed up pretty badly. Mason, the lone guy that is not dealing with any kind of issues other than his self-inflicted ones in the hairpin a couple times, or the corkscrew a couple times. But man, 2 of our class leaders really struggling. And it looks like Jimmy Covert had a little bit of an incident going off track as well, but still in second place in the GTPs as these guys are coming up on their final laps, and could possibly be a white flag this time by for Mason Smith. We will take a look at Barney, see if he is waving that thing on the way by. And no, it looks like it'll still be 2 laps to go for this entire field there, including Mason Smith, as he tries to wrap up yet another win here in the GTP class. Pal Kaska still your leader overall in the GT3 division, but obviously leading that GT3 AM class. Chris Hamilton, you see, still right behind him, still chasing him down, but he is in the lead by 9.5 seconds over Matt Govering in the GT3 Pro. So this thing is just about finishing up, and it seems like it's maybe calmed down a little bit here, and I think it's just that everybody's kind of spread out within their own classes. Not too many close battles, not really any close battles, looking at the timing and score right there. So other than excuse me, Matt Z, who has just come into the pits and looks like he's not able to limp that thing back to the end of this race. But now Mason Smith has officially lapped everyone in the field. Jimmy Covert going down. Looks like he has lost a wing off the back of that thing. We'll take a look and see. Yeah, it looks like right here, spinning out and backing it across the track, and that wing just snaps right off. So he's going to have to limp that thing to the end of this race. But meanwhile, Mason Smith coming around, and this should be the white flag lap. As I don't see Barney doing anything over here, except just hanging out, enjoying the race, and kind of don't blame him at this point, but it should be this time by that Mason Smith will see the checkered flag as he heads up into the bus stop. And I could be wrong, he may be able to get back to the start-finish line one more time as he heads up the hill to the corkscrew. I called it the bus stop earlier. That's Watkins Glen. That's later this week. But down in through the corkscrew, again looking for another win on the season, as he started off the year winning the first race at Daytona, finishing in second at the second race, then winning at Sebring, winning at Long Beach, trying to make it a three-peat and 4 out of 5. And he will actually get to the line and watch that white flag wave one more time around for Mason Smith. Take a look at Pal Kaska as he is now coming down from the corkscrew, and he's got a pretty sizable lead as well, 21 seconds over David Tilford. But a great job for Tilford there. I mean, he just wanted to finish in the podium spots, but he's going to get another extra interview here if he finishes there in second place, as he's able to overtake Derek Sherman in this race. Rasmussen having a good run there in fourth place as well in his comeback race here after missing last week. And then you have Chris Hamilton in the pro division out there by 10 seconds as he looks to close this thing down over Matt Goring. A pretty fantastic race here. I mean, I was looking forward to this one. I know the drivers probably weren't looking forward to it as much, but I know you were looking forward to it as well, Terry, as right in front of our GT3 AM leader on the last lap. Like John Crane spun in front of him, but Terry, pretty good race here at Laguna Seca.
Yes, it is. It was actually as exciting as I was hoping it'd be. Of course, as you were mentioning, this is one of my favorite tracks, so seeing good racing on one of your favorite tracks is always that much better.
Well, this thing is not over yet. You see Mason Smith not wasting any kind of fuel in that car, ripping out the fastest lap of the entire race on that last lap before the checkered flag. He is your winner, Jimmy Covert, in second there in GTP, but this is the battle for the overall in GT3, and because of that little spin and another moment there, Chris Hamilton, again, you're not going to get any kind of bonus points for it, but he will get the bragging rights, and he will win the overall in the GT3 with some late action there. Pal Kaska will win the GT3 AM and finish second overall in the GT3. But wow, that was very close to throwing it all the way for Pal Kaska, so a great save. Let's take a look at that one more time. That's not the way you want to be ending the race at all. Big moment there, but able to save it and drive it back up on the track and bring that home for the win. So, whew, that was close there, Terry.
Thought that we were going to get another leader out of the way. I'm glad that we didn't, and that's some amazing handling skills there to keep that car from going any further out of the way there, and to get it back onto the track in plenty of time to avoid having to be forced through pit road.
Yeah, absolutely, because he was certainly aimed there for quite some time. But as these guys finish up, we will wait till everybody crosses the line. Looks like some of these guys are going to finish from pit road. So we'll go ahead and bring up our results for the race and see if they are up and official yet. And yes, they are. So we'll go ahead and start with the GTP class. And that is going to be Mason Smith bringing it home by over a lap over Jimmy Covert in second, Kevin McCann third, Nick Nickerson and Nathaniel Davis, your 5 drivers in the GTP class. In the GT3 Pro, it is Chris Hamilton on top by 14 seconds over Matthew Goring, Ricky Hart Jr., Matt Crockett, Mark Thomas, and John Nominger. And then in your GT3 AM, certainly make it interesting in there at the end. But Pal Kaska getting it done David Tilford in second, 19.5 seconds back. Derek Sherman, Andrew Rasmussen, Willem Layton, your top 5. Craig Potter, Connor Gibson, Tyler Bramble, Tyler Wong, and James Jones, your top 10. Then the rest of the field for the M is Matt Z, Derek Booker, Brett Guzik, Abiy Vishwavasim, Dane Simpson, John Crane, Tim Thompson, and Landon Benson. Fantastic race by these guys. We'll start to pull them down and get them ready for their interviews as soon as I see them. And we'll start with our GTP class as always. But, I mean, just pretty much exactly what you expected here for Laguna Seca. There was a lot of thrills, a lot of spills, and at the end of the day, some of the better drivers, the cream of the crop, rose to the top.
Yes, I can agree with that. And of course, this track decided that it was not going to disappoint, and even brought in some thrilling moments right there at the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. That's no other way to put it. But let's go ahead and start to bring in our interview drivers here. And we're going to start with second place in the GTP class. And Jimmy, it's got to feel good to finally break through and get a second place and be on the interviewed side instead of the interviewer.
Well, you know, these cars on this track is tough.
I was about to say, don't need to get a swear jar out.
No, they're tough. It's I know Nick and Kevin were both fast, and unfortunately they were didn't have the race they wanted tonight because they were clearly faster than I was. I just happened to be able to not demolish my car tonight. I had plenty of X's, that's for sure. Is challenging and trying to make a couple moves on some of the other drivers, and I apologize to Dane already once in the race, but I went for a dive and I was like, nope, and I just drove off in the dirt on purpose. So it's just just trying to keep it clean for those guys, but give them a little bit of challenge as this multi-car series is a unique animal, and it's a lot of fun if you get out there and do the officials, especially like the 24-hour events and stuff like that. So a little bit of practice for them with these cars, and hopefully they can see and just be more aware, and basically it gives them the opportunity to not only drive the fast line, but the alternate lines, whether it's taking an earlier or later apex around corners. So, but other than that, I had a lot of fun tonight. It was just it's not my favorite track, so. But I guess I did okay. I finished.
Yeah, well, and by the looks of it, kind of barely. We're looking at your car here towards the end here, and we've seen you back into the wall and lose that rear wing. So how did that thing handle without the rear wing those last couple laps?
Well, you put a little bit of gas in it, and she just want to come around. I was like, I knew there was something wrong. I got a little loose coming there. I had a turn 4. I got in the dirt and thought I saved it, and I felt the back end touch the wall. And last week it gave me a meatball for doing that, so I didn't get a meatball this week. So I'm still good to go. But I could feel the car not happy, so I just tried to take it easy, getting around there. Mason got by, lapped me, so I was happy about that. That was one last lap I had to do.
There you go. Exactly. So there's the bright side of it. Well, congratulations on the second place either way. I mean, sure, it maybe took some of your competitors having issues on their end, and it looked like everybody in the GTP class had their issues here tonight. But either way, you got to be there at the end, and you got your second place. So give you a chance to give your shout outs and thanks.
Yeah, just a big shout out, especially to my family. Let me do this. Actually, I think my son wanted me to play a game with him, but he's patiently waiting. As I spent most of the evening prior to this playing with him, so I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to play a little bit before his bedtime. But he's definitely waiting for Dad to finish up here. But again, everybody that comes out every week, and keep it up. I know it gets a little frustrating with each other. You're trying to pass on these tight tracks, but it takes practice. It takes time on track, and just you got to keep at it. So see you all next week.
Wise words there from the 14. So congrats on the second place, and we'll be talking to you literally tomorrow night.
Later, Carl.
That is your second place finisher in the GTP class, Jimmy Cover, driver of the 14. Now we bring in the winner and the man who looks like he's just unbeatable this season. 4 wins out of 5. Mason, exactly how you wrote it up this year, right?
Well, it seems like it for Case.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like everybody, like I just said to Jimmy, everybody in the GTP had their issues here tonight. Between Nick having his early issues, we've seen Kevin have his issues in the corkscrew and backing in, having a tow. Jimmy had issues, especially at the end there, lost a rear wing. You had some issues sliding through the bus stop a couple times, or not the bus stop, I keep calling it the bus stop, the corkscrew a couple times. Thing looked like a handful out there tonight.
Yes, it really was, and I think it's a really difficult track, I would say. Probably more difficult than Long Beach in terms of like passing and stuff. But other than that, it actually really felt smooth through the corners, with those fast spankings and such. It's what makes it a fun track. I survived. That's all I did tonight, and just put in some couple fast laps and just get through traffic easily.
Well, it worked out, and again, you grabbed your 4th win out of 5, and it's just a fantastic start. And even the race you didn't win, you came in 2nd place there in the 2nd race there at Daytona. So, what's it going to take to stop you this season? Is it just everything clicking? Is it everything kind of going your way?
I would say that most of the stuff has been like other GTP drivers making mistakes. So yeah, I'd say it's going much my way than expected.
Well, so far so good, and a quarter of the way through the season now, a little bit over that, and you're sitting pretty over the rest of the GTP class. So congrats again on another win here tonight, and we'll give you a chance to give any shout outs or thanks.
Yeah, thanks to all the drivers, like 20 plus cars consistently out on the track, and it's what is it, race number 4?
Race number 5 here tonight. Yep.
Race number 5. Wow. And we still got a ton of guys in here. So thanks to them, and thank you for the broadcast. You guys keep it up.
Thank you for putting in all the action out there on the track. We certainly appreciate it. And we will let you go and start getting ready for the actual bus stop at Watkins Glen next week.
Oh, yeah. That's another amazing track. I think there's going to be a lot of speed through Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and hopefully a little bit easier chance to pass there as you got some straightaways to kind of work there at least, and a little more familiarity for some of these guys, I'm sure. But once again, we expect to see that number 6 run up towards the front. So we'll let you go and celebrate with the guys.
All right, thank you.
That the winner of the GTP class, once again, Mason Smith. And now we'll bring in your winner of the overall. And Terry, why don't you go ahead and we will start with 2nd place here, Matthew Goring in the GT3 Pro class.
Hey, Matthew, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, not bad. You guys put on a great show tonight. So take us through a lap there with those faster cars coming around you guys when you were in those battles. How did that feel?
Trusting the other drivers to make a clean move. Using the mirrors a lot and knowing where like good passing areas were, and like taking my corners as I would through the bad turns, I guess.
Oh, all right. So did you think you had anything for the leaders tonight, or was that just about where you were running tonight?
It was just something I need to work on. I need to work on consistency, putting the pace in from practice and qualifying down on when it counts.
Yeah, I can understand that too myself. So do you have any shout-outs tonight?
Just you guys as always, and Core, and hope to talk to you guys next week.
All right. I'll be looking forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks. Have a good night.
All right.
All right, that's your 2nd place finisher, the 95 Matthew Goring in the GT3 Pro division. And now we will bring in the winner of the GT3 Pro class, and that is Chris Hamilton. So, Terry, why don't you go ahead and take Chris?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Chris? Congratulations on your win there.
Oh, thank you, thank you. That was a very sketchy win. I'll give it that.
So yeah, we caught that Powell spun right, almost spun right in front of you, right there between turn 10 and 11 on that last lap. What were you thinking right there when his car all of a sudden turned sideways right there like that?
Don't hit me, 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 don't hit me.
Good thought there.
That pretty much sums it up, yeah.
Yeah, but today's the track is just getting hotter and hotter, and judging by what I heard, I think I was one of the only few people that actually took tires, and they felt amazing on the second run. I think my fastest lap was on the second run, but yeah, I lost a little time, and I wasn't really racing Powell, but I was racing, and we were like talking about it after the race, where it was like, if you had the opportunity, even though we're in different classes, and you had the opportunity to pass, are you going to take it? And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I would too, clearly. But don't know what happened to Mark. I saw that he was having another rough one, and I hope. I know that getting through the pack is not easy, especially when you get a huge accordion on the first lap and you got to make it up. But I'll say it, we'll take it and do it one race at a time and keep on trucking.
There you go. And do you have any shout outs tonight?
A huge shout out to Ryan McCauley. He made the CRN cars look good each and every week here on the Core Racing Network. Huge thanks, Carl, for putting on a great season. And thank you guys for the broadcast. Couldn't do it without you guys.
Thank you, and congratulations again on that win there.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, that your winner in the GT3 Pro, that is the 64, Chris Hamilton. Now we finish up with the GT3M, and we bring in our in-race reporter, and that is David Toford. So, David, not just a podium, but a second place here tonight. Got to feel pretty good.
Oh my gosh, guys, I can't say how good it feels, actually. Man, I kept it on the track for the most part. I had one excursion off of the top of the corkscrew and didn't get into the wall, and had some really fun passes too. So, man, it was a great night, actually.
So, I mean, obviously, it's a tight little track here, and to try and work your way, or maybe not work your way, but work the GTPs around you was one thing. But how was it running up against some of these other pro guys, and really just a ton of GT3 cars out here tonight? I mean, we had 29 drivers in attendance, and 24 of them were in GT3 cars.
Yeah, that was, I know, a big challenge for a lot of guys tonight. I personally think I got kind of lucky with not a lot of incidents right in front of me. I think maybe it was making up for last week because I got stuck in the hairpin at Long Beach, I think 4 times. So, man, I was very thankful that no one was parking it right in front of me. So that was fortunate for me tonight. And really, so the BMW was not quick for me, at least in the first half of the course when you need to set up your pass into turn 5. So I was stuck behind Goring, doing about the same pace. I think I had more in it, but I couldn't get past him in the second half because I would just lag behind in the first half. So yeah, it made for an interesting second stint when things got a little more mixed up. But the first stint, I just stuck behind him and decided I wasn't going to try to send it.
So 5 races in the books and all top 5s now. I mean, is this kind of the start of the season you expected? Is this just kind of the fruits of your labors and all the practice and all the driving that you've been doing, in core, just kind of paying off at this point?
Definitely practice is paying off. It hasn't been without mistakes for sure, but I've also, I think, tried to mature a little bit emotionally during the race. So one mistake and having to take a fast repair or something like that doesn't turn into just being out of the race completely. So that also has come with experience and telling myself I can still make this race worth it. So that's that's been the approach, and it's worked out so far.
Absolutely, and worked out to your second place of the season. So it's waiting to see that number 12 crack through and get that first win. But in the meantime, a second place is still really good here, especially with the field that we had out here tonight. So congrats again on that, and we'll give you a chance to give any one last shout out and thanks before we let you go.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Carl. So just shout out to the guys who make this great competition every week. Shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast and putting all this stuff on. Just been a lot of fun doing all the different series this first half of the year, and looking forward to more.
All right, certainly looking forward to seeing that 12 out there and doing good again. So congrats, and we'll let you go celebrate with the guys.
Thanks, guys.
At your second place finisher in the GT3 AM, David Tilford. And now finally we bring in the winner of the GT3 AM, and that is Pal Casca. Pal, it looked like, you pretty much had the race to yourself there in the front of the GT3 field, let alone the GT3 AM. And I mean, I'm not sure what happened on that last lap. Maybe you got a little bored, or maybe, John Crane had to wake you up there a little bit with him spinning in front of you, and then you got to make it interesting there coming out of turn 10. Is that what happened?
Yeah, basically. My my rear kind of just went on me, breaking into that turn, and tried to catch it, but it just sent me out wide a little bit.
Well, it certainly could have been.
At least I didn't hit the walls. That's the good thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say it could have been a lot worse, and could have snapped you on the other way and either sent you in the tire barriers or sent you in the pits, which either way would have been bad. But you were able to save it, and a fantastic save at that. Tell us about the entire race. I mean, obviously you had the AM division kind of unlocked for most of the race, but you had Chris Hamilton in the Pro division kind of hounding you down that entire race. I know it's not for points, but we all know it's for bragging rights. So tell us a little bit about that in the race.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I felt it's like it was Derek and Chris. They were behind me. It felt like they were just breathing down my neck. I was giving me a little bit of pressure, but so I was screwing up the here and there, and I had to start getting relaxed a little bit more just to put my mind at ease, because I don't know, I started making mistakes in the beginning a little bit here and there. But other than that, I know I've had some close calls with the lapped cars. One spun out in front of me. One didn't accelerate out of turn 11, I think it was, the left-hander.
Yeah, and it's certainly to be expected. I mean, obviously you had everybody had their issues with the GTPs out here, and only 5 of them out here, but 24 guys out here in the GT3 field across the AM and the Pro, and it's not it's a big enough track, but then again, it's not. I mean, we were watching probably about 15 minutes into this race, and the entire track map is just covered with dots across the entire track. So tell us what it was just dealing with the traffic of the other GT3s out there.
At first, it kind of flowed for me, but then it became, I know, like I said, that one Lamborghini that spun in front of me, I don't know who that was. He slowed me down enough for Chris to kind of catch up. I was actually hoping to not let Chris pass, but that didn't really happen.
Aren't we all? But yeah, it made it interesting at the end for sure.
Yeah, it did.
But either way, another win here now, and it's got to feel good here to start the season, or start your career here in Core, and grab another win here after you won 2 weeks ago at Sebring, and even finishing last week in second place at Long Beach. So looking forward in the season. Is there any other tracks that you think you're going to be feeling comfortable with, starting next week at Watkins Glen?
I know Watkins Glen pretty well. I'm pretty confident in that track, although I did run the Porsche instead of the McLaren, but I'll still be running the McLaren out there. I know I don't know what times I'll be getting, but who knows? I don't know how I would compare with with Chris and Derek and Brett and all of them.
Well, there's
It's
one.
always nice to see. It's always nice to see and compare.
Yeah, there's one way to find out. We'll see that certainly next week. But congrats again on the win here tonight. And before we let you go, we'll give you a chance to give any shout outs or thanks.
I want to shout out to 212 Racing, my team. They're fantastic drivers, all of them, and also to Pulse at pulsestudio.com, and also to you guys. You guys do a fantastic job here.
We appreciate it, and you're certainly doing a fantastic job out there on the track. So looking forward to seeing you again next week. And for the meantime, we'll let you go and celebrate with the guys.
Thank you.
All right, that your winner in the GT3 AM, Pal Casca. And just to wrap it up and put a bow on this thing, I mean, it's been great so far this season. I mean, yeah, you certainly had some tracks that can get a little tight and hairy. Last week at Long Beach and even this week to that matter at Laguna Seca, but starts to open up a little bit with Watkins Glen as there's certainly some passing opportunities and there should be a really fast track there at Watkins Glen. But then you have the doubleheader lurking on the horizon with a doubleheader at Mount Panorama, and it's coming off of the same week as the Bathurst 12-hour for iRacing. So these guys are going to get plenty of racing at the mountain there, and that thing is a beast. I know you say you like it, so we'll let you start preparing. You're ready for the Terry's track talk before the race of that one. But I'm already looking forward to Watkins Glen next week. I mean, if we're going to get turnouts like this, upwards of 30 cars every week, it's great to see that many cars come on the track, and especially just watching the beginning of the races and them ripping down into turn one, that many cars flying through there. It's like we're watching a special event here at iRacing.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely amazing, and it's definitely a great journey to go through from stepping up from the driver's seat to the driver's booth. Of course, tomorrow I do switch hats again and go back to the driver's seat.
Well, I'm certainly, I'm sure the juice has got a little flowing here tonight, and you'll certainly be wanting to get back in regardless, but fantastic night of racing here tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, as always, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit the subscribe, and get a taste of everything that CRN has to offer. But for myself and Terry here at WeatherTech Laguna Seca, we'll see you at the track.
See you at the track.